Hello and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Now, this is an interesting one because I put it out to the people, the people of Twitter, I posed them the question as to whether or not I should actually continue doing these specific podcasts, because obviously the interviews have been doing very well. They're very well received. It's an interesting mixed bag of results in terms of the views, but it's still very early days. I mean, we only started the podcast a couple of weeks ago or something like that, and in that time we've already had 10 guests. At the time of this recording, 8 of those podcasts are now out. I've got 2 more scheduled, and let me see. I'm interviewing 2 more, so I guess I'll be up to about 12 or something like that. I don't know, but not all of the podcasts have been interviews. Some of them have just been me talking like this, and I did kind of wonder as to whether or not people were actually interested in that. I have noticed a little bit of a dip in terms of the view count. And that's understandable for these episodes because, there's not as much to draw you in, I mean, it's me. Who the hell am I? You know what I mean? If you're coming across this for the first time, why should you care? And I understand that. I completely understand that. Because, the whole, obviously, I'm not going to lie, part of the reason that I have guests on my podcast is, because they have an audience and, I can potentially attract some of their audience, so there is that element of it. But in truth, it wasn't really my main focus or goal. It's just kind of like a thing in the back of my mind. It's like, anytime you go for any kind of thing in business or anything you do in life, you think about how it can benefit you and such. But for me personally, as a human being, I think about what I can do for other people, and it's a lot more rewarding to help others and really do what you can for other people as well, and it doesn't just make you feel good. It just, I don't know, I feel like, you're spreading those positive vibes out in the world, and it kind of comes back to you, and everything just maintains some sort of balance, I guess. I don't know, that's the way I look at it anyway. One can always argue that, oh yeah, well, you just do those nice things because it makes you feel good. And, I'm not going to lie, that is an element of it, but it's not like, for me, it's not really about that. It's more about just doing stuff because it's right, And I rely a lot on that in life. I used to be only thinking with my head, and now I think with my heart, and I often tell my head to do one because my head doesn't have my best interests. Because the brain, I don't know, I always find the brain just lets you down, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it does guide you, it does kind of, it's a very important thing, but like I feel that your heart can never betray you. How can you? Because your heart is almost like connected to your soul. It's like, it's you, that's you, it's who you are. And I'm not talking about the physical thing. I mean, the heart in its most deep metaphorical sense, that's what I mean. That's what I'm referring to. And I guess for me, I've had a lot of growing up over the years. I've done a lot of growing up, and it's taken a while to get to this point where I'm comfortable following my heart, following my dreams, doing what's right. And, it's not to say I've never been spiteful in my life, or, I've never been angry at the world or upset or anything like that. And that's kind of why I decided to call this particular podcast episode Highs and Lows, because that to me really sums up life. That sums up the human experience. It is a series of highs and lows. And, like Bruce Lee said, be like water. If you're resistant to change and resistant to the nature of life, then you're always going to suffer. You got to like embrace the bad times as well as the good times. Because obviously if you embrace the bad times, it kind of makes you appreciate the good times more. And I don't know, as I've gotten older, I'm learning to appreciate time more and more. I don't know whether it's because I've seen, my friends take their lives and stuff, and I've seen so many people die at this point, and needlessly so, that it's really made me evaluate life and why we're here, and how grateful I am to just have another day every single day. I might grumble once in a while from time to time, but overall, I'm very grateful to be alive. I'm grateful for the little things. I don't want this to sound like I'm trying to preach to the choir and try and paint myself as this perfect person and stuff, because let me tell you, it's taken a long time to get to this point. I've been through it all, and I'm sure many tougher lessons are on the horizon. They always are. But I really do feel like I learned many lessons the hard way. Because you don't always necessarily have to learn things the hard way. It is a choice. But, for me, I had to learn it the hard way. I had to make a lot of mistakes. I had to hurt people, all of that stuff. And, like, for example, I realized after reconnecting with past partners and old friends and stuff, I realized that the person that I thought I was when I was a teenager is not the person that I was. It's not to say that I wasn't a good person. I was just a kid. I was just growing up making mistakes. But the things that I would say and the way I would think was just completely bore out of insecurity. I wasn't even being me. I was just saying things to be cool or to try and fit in and, betray this kind of false facade rather than just being myself. And I guess myself, who I am, has always at its core been like this nice person, nice guy. And I know it's weird to compliment yourself, but I'm not really doing that. I'm not going to sit here and say like, I'm a nice guy. It's not like that. It's like, let me put it this way. I believe there are very few people in this world that are truly like bad people. I think for the most part, many people have good and bad in them, and it is a choice. And I feel that it's not black and white either. A lot of the time it's relative. So bad can be more about laziness than anything else. Like, let's say like when you see something happen, something that like maybe a stranger is in distress, and you have a choice. You can go help them, go help that complete stranger that has nothing to do with you, or you can just choose to walk the other way. And I see a lot of people that just stare, pull their phones out, point and laugh in some cases, whatever. Like, everyone is different. The point being that, you have a choice. You always have a choice. And the beauty about life is you can always change. Every moment is an opportunity to change and move in the right direction. Anyone that tells you that you're far past fucked and, you're gone and that's it, is a liar. At the end of the day, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, obviously. I don't know. I am speculating. But for me, if there was a point to life, I think it's to reach some sort of higher level, of consciousness, of understanding. I think it's to ascend past our own ideas of morals and stuff, to really put others first and understand the true kind of underlying reasonings behind why we're here. We're not here to just make money and make a living and have kids and enjoy the luxuries about life. That's not what it is. That stuff is all great and everything, but that's not life. Life is, I think, is about understanding. It's about going through shit and coming out the other side and still being a good person and still deciding to spread positivity and good in the world. You can punish the world, you can punish people around you, you can be bitter as fuck, you can be negative, you can be all of these things. But in the end, it just sits with you. Because, other people are going to be unaffected by it. Sure, you might hurt people in the process and stuff, but ultimately you are the one that suffers. That's the cold, hard reality of it. And every time I meet someone that's bitter and negative now, I have a totally different opinion and an approach to that, because I've been there. I know how that feels. I know what it's like to be like that. When you're at your lowest points in life, it's easy to just blame others. It's easy to get angry. It's especially easy to look at positive people and think, oh man, they're just full of shit. How could they be positive all the time? Like, what the hell do they have to be positive about? Why are they so happy? And that's kind of the point. They've understood what it means to be happy at its core. Because happiness is relative, just like success. You know, one man, one woman might turn around and say, well, you know, they're not successful. They don't have this, they don't have that, and then the other person might turn around and be like, that's the richest person in the world. And it has nothing to do with materials. It can really be as simple as that. I think a lot of people tend to miss the point. They tend to miss why we're here. Or rather, they don't think about it, which puzzles me. I've always thought that, it's crazy to not think about why we're here. What's the reason? Like when you get that feeling, that gut feeling, like for instance, when you've done something wrong, you're in the wrong, you've made a mistake, you've hurt someone, right? It's easy to blame someone else, run away, pretend it didn't happen, maybe pretend like you don't even care. But in the end, you know that it's wrong, and it's up to you to change that. And people are so afraid to make mistakes, so afraid to say sorry. I used to be like that. There was a point in my life when I lied, and in the end it just comes back to bite you. You've got to be honest with people. If someone hurts you, if you're angry with someone, just be real with them. Yes, they're going to react badly, because no one likes to be criticized. No one likes to be told they're wrong. But in the end, they will have respect for you one way or another. And respect is very difficult to earn, but it's so easy to lose. And I mean, in these series of highs and lows in life, you're often going to have these moments of reflection. Take this situation that we're in right now, this pandemic. I guess this is why I'm so, I don't know what the word would be. Retrospective, is that the right word? I've been reflecting a lot on my life so far. I just turned 27, and I'm really blown away by how much thinking I've been doing lately about who I am, what I am, my past, my present, what the future looks like, everything. I really feel like for the first time in my life, I'm actually thinking clearly, and I'm not scared anymore, which sounds silly and crazy maybe to some of you, but let me explain. There was a point where I was scared to take risks. I was scared to, like I said, tell the truth and be real with people. I was just scared of everything. I wasn't equipped for life. And, the reality of life is it's never the right time. It's never, and I don't mean, sometimes things do align and stuff, but what I mean is like, you just have to go for stuff and it'll work out. Take this podcast. I thought, what's the point? I don't have the equipment. I've got this shitty microphone that cost me like 20 euros. I don't even have a proper setup. What the hell am I going to talk about? Who the hell is going to want to come onto my podcast? All of these concerns, right? But no positives. There's no ideas entering my mind like, well, what if it works out? What if people do come on it? What if people love it? And then I just kind of thought, you know what? I'm just going to give this a go. What's the worst that could happen? It doesn't work out. Well, at least I said, at least I tried. At least I made an effort. And you know what? It is working. And I think the reason it's working is because I'm putting my heart and soul into it, just like I do everything else in my life. And, that's what life is. You got to put the work in. And it's not like this instant gratification culture that we seem to have right now. You know, you don't get things in life straight away. You don't get anything for free. You know, it will cost you your time or your money or something else. There's always a price to pay. But that doesn't have to be a negative thing. You know? That's why I think that time in many ways is worth so much more than money, because how you choose to invest your time, be it in certain people or projects or whatever, that shapes your life. And you only have yourself to look at and blame if it goes wrong. You know? But the beauty of life is you can change at any time. You can say, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something different. I'll give you some of my lows. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it on the podcast for the first time. One of my lowest points was when I was about 18 or 19 years old. I'd been working at a supermarket for about a year. You know, it was my first proper job. I'd worked before that, but this was my first proper job with a contract. And when I was 17, I'd started a band, and you know, I'd got this job to coincide with that. And you know, I was very unsure about myself. I was very insecure as a teenager, and I thought that I was too stupid to go to university, certainly. And I'll never forget that when I was in sixth form, you know, just about to finish, I make one little decision that, you know, maybe this isn't for me, maybe this is not right for me. And then all of a sudden, all the representatives at the sixth form just dropped me. It was like, okay, yeah, you want to go to the world of work right now, okay, bye. And that was it. That was the end of my university dream, as it were. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just not cut out for university. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not intelligent enough to do that. And then I remember sitting down in the room they'd bundled us in. It wasn't even a room, it was the sixth form common room. It was just me and about 5 or 6 other people sitting at some computer chairs with this substitute teacher who was half invested in what we were doing. And it was a world of workshop with very little effort put into it. No one is there because they want to be. They're just, you know, half-assed, just trying to get through the period. And I was like, fuck, is this life? Is this what I've got to look forward to? It was depressing. Now, fast forward to a year. The band's going really well. I'm putting all of my time into it. But my day-to-day, my full-time reality is working at that supermarket. And this was an affluent area. This was in a place called Chiswick, where the average house price is in the millions. It draws many famous people. It's very close to central London. You know, it's just, I'd see celebrities all the time, rich people, whatever, and they would be condescending and look down on me, talk to me like I was a piece of shit, all of that. I mean, this is why I always feel for people working in customer service, because, you know, trust me, I know how you feel. I've been there. I've worked every single customer service job you can imagine. And I know how brutal the public can be. In many ways, customer service teaches you about human psychology. It teaches you about how the average person thinks and feels. And they just treat you like you're nothing. You know, it didn't occur to people that, you know, maybe I did have a brain and maybe this isn't forever. And, you know, but more to the point, working in those jobs isn't as easy as everyone thinks. You know, it's not just stacking shelves. There's more to it than that. And it's not for everyone. Not everyone can do it. I've seen super intelligent people fail miserably at those kind of jobs. And it really does go to show, you know. But anyway, there was this moment about a year in. And I remember being in this kind of stock room, I guess. It was a fruit and veg stockroom. I was the fruit and veg boy. And for whatever reason, I just broke down in tears. I started crying intensely. I was hiding behind this cage because I didn't want anyone to see me, buried away. And I was like, I don't want this to be my life. And I'm not a religious man, but I did kind of make a sort of a prayer, like a call out to the universe, like, please, I don't want this. I don't want this for my life. I don't want this to be me. Like, I genuinely believed that I was better than that. but I just felt trapped. I felt like that would be the height of my existence. And you know, the difficult thing about it as well was that there was people around me, managers, regular members of staff, that were negative people, and reinforced my own insecurities about myself. They made me feel as unintelligent as I felt. They made me feel that I would never achieve anything. And apparently some of the managers bitched behind my back and actually said, yeah, you know, he'll never go to university, he'll never make anything of his life. And it got to me. I was young, you know, I was reckless. I just didn't believe. And I had no one telling me that they believed in me or that I could do anything. And there were a few people here and there, shout out to Ross, you know who you are, who made me feel and believe that maybe I could actually do something with my life and that this wasn't forever. And you know what, Ross, you were right. If you are listening to this, thank you, man, because I really needed to hear that. And there wasn't really anyone in my life, family, friends included, that was really reinforcing that or making me believe. And, you know, like I said, the band, it was good. We had some good times. It was a big learning experience for me, but it ended prematurely. And, you know, music at that time was just not working out for me. Music will work out for me one day, I know it will. I just have a feeling. I love it. It's such a big part of my life, and it always will be. But back then, I just think that, you know, it wasn't the right time back then. You know, certainly I just had a different attitude towards things, and I needed to have the series of highs and lows over the next, you know, let's say 5 to 8 years that I had. Like, when I look back at my journey of all those highs and lows since then, it was all necessary. I mean, here I am all these years later talking about this on my own podcast. You know, if I didn't have this story to tell, maybe I'd have no stories to tell. That's the thing. Nowadays I look at bad moments and things that didn't go well as opportunities for stories, opportunities to learn. You got to change your perspective, guys. You got to look at these negative things that happen in life, these low points, and realize that they're not forever. Sometimes they might feel like they're forever, but they're really not. You just have to have the right attitude. Have a zest for life. When things are going wrong, look at what's going right. Look at the things that you have. Do you have food on your table? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have a loving partner next to you, going through everything with you? Because you know what? If you have those things, you sound like the richest person in the world to me. I don't care how corny and cringy it sounds. It's the truth. I've met people that are unspeakably rich, and they are miserable. It's not about what you have. Money only rents happiness. It doesn't grant it. It just puts you in a more comfortable position. That's it. But comfort does not equate to happiness. And happiness is relative to every person. I've met people that are happy slaving away every day on a farm, which is brutal, hard work, and they love it. And they had this zest for life that was inspiring, that just blew me away. I've met people who spend all day working on machines and cars, and they love it. They're like an excited little kid in a candy store, just obsessed with everything, obsessed with learning. And you know what? I have that too now. My obsession is with learning, is with stories, storytelling, exploring what I can do. This is the reason that, you know, on my YouTube channel, you find all of these different things that I'm pursuing. Music, acting, writing, skits, vlogs, whatever. I do it all because I want to, because I want to explore. I want to see what I can do. I want to take advantage of this opportunity in life and just make the most of it. Just kind of say, hey, do you know what? Instead of looking at things that I can't do, why not just see and test myself? Why not see all of the possibilities? Like lately I've been playing basketball a lot. And you know what? Every day I'm getting better and better and better. And there's a reason for that. Obviously, practice makes perfect, but more to the point, it's because of the attitude. If my attitude was, oh, I'm never going to get better, then I wouldn't ever get better. But my attitude is, it's time. Time and practice. And confidence. And when you got all those things, you're headed in the right direction. So I guess my underlying point with this whole podcast today is about hanging in there through the highs and the lows, you know? Appreciating the highs too. I mean, there's this moment in this movie which I think really sums it up very well. It's something Walter Mitty. I can't remember. It's a movie, a very famous movie that was released in about somewhere between 2010 to 2013. It has Ben Stiller in. It was a very serious movie for him. He's typically a sort of comedic actor, but it was a very serious movie. Something like The Incredible Life of Walter Mitty, something like that. But I really highly recommend that you go and check it out. It's an excellent movie. But there was a particular moment in it where he's seeking out this particular guy. I won't ruin the plot, but basically the guy that he's seeking out is a photographer, professional photographer, who does everything, you know, old-fashioned. He like by choice. You know, he's very just a cool guy. I get it. I'm the same. You know, I love to use stuff from a bygone era. It just feels so much more real than, you know, all the digital stuff we're using now. You know, I think that's why books will never cease to exist, because, you know, it's so much more satisfying to hold a book in your hands and smell the book and feel it and read the words like in that way than it is to just read them off a screen. I can't explain why. It's just, and being in a library or being in a spot where you can just sit back and delve into a book. But anyway, I think it's The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, maybe. I'm going to kick myself in the head for not knowing this. All right, back to the story. He finds this photographer way, way up in the hills of like some random country in the middle of nowhere. And again, I won't ruin the plot, but they're talking, and he's basically got this picture, like he's got this, I don't know, I think it's maybe some sort of big cat, like a leopard or something like that, panther, I don't know. He's looking for it through the lens. He's about to get that shot. And then while he's looking through it, he just moves back and he just looks at it. And he appreciates the moment. And he doesn't care about missing the shot. And the guy that's sitting next to him is like, oh my God, you're going to miss the shot. You're going to miss the shot. And he's like, and I'm paraphrasing this, but he says sometimes he doesn't take the pictures. Sometimes he just likes to appreciate the moment and keep it. And I don't think I could put it better any other way. That's exactly how I live my life. The first time I saw that, I thought it was pretty deep. But now, it's something that I live by. I've said it before, but sometimes I'll sit and just listen to a bit of music and not doing anything else. Just appreciate that I'm listening to this beautiful music. Feeling the emotions that I'm feeling. Reflecting on life. Thinking back to good times, bad times, whatever, and just really taking it all in. Because that's one of the biggest parts about life is reflection. Why are we here? What does it mean? Why does this speak to me on a deep level? How can I get so deep? Why is it that I connect with some people and don't connect with others? I think as long as you're asking questions in life, you know, you're on the right track. Have a curious mind. Have an open mind. You know, when I was at school, it would depend on the lesson you were in, but there were certain teachers that would inhibit that, would tell you to stop asking so many questions. And then, you know, I had some amazing business teachers, and particularly my English teacher. Shout out to Miss Woman. You made me think. You taught me to think. You taught me to ask the big questions. I remember so many times pitching ideas and points about stories that she'd never even thought of. And she embraced it. And I felt for the first time in my life like maybe my ideas and thoughts weren't so crazy. Maybe there is a place for me in this world. Because that's the thing. When it all boils down to it, we're just looking to be accepted, looking for our place in the world. But the reality is, you're not going to find that. You need to be you, because you're unique. And then you'll have your place in the world. Stop trying to, be included. I gave up on that years ago. I remember I used to worry about not having friends or trying to be part of friend groups. It's nonsense. You gotta find your footing. And the funny thing is, when you become independent and positive and full of energy, everyone wants to be around you. Surprise, surprise. Who would have thought that? But it's true. It's so true. I mean, certainly since I've changed my attitude and become more positive and upbeat about life and stuff, more things seem to be attracting into my life, people, opportunities, all of these things. And I know that it's because of that attitude and the hard work as well, and putting the time in and being positive, being hopeful. It's easy to lose faith, but you got to have faith. You got to just keep hoping, keep dreaming, because sometimes your dreams become a reality, and it's incredible. So, drawing this all to a close, I guess what I really want to say to you guys is, look, life is a series of highs and lows. It's the good times and the bad times. Hang in there. Don't be deterred. The journey is what life is. Everyone's trying to race to the destination, but life is the journey. And it's incredible. It can be as amazing and fulfilling as you want it to be, or it can just be calm and comfortable. But you know what? I don't think you'll ever be fulfilled unless you're really making the most of it and just seeing where it can go. Test yourself. Who knows what you could achieve? Because the reality is, there are no limitations or restrictions. You can do anything. And anyone that tells you you can't is just a barrier that you're going to jump over eventually. Might take a bit of time, but you will get over it. And you'll just leave them behind. Now look, I hope that this has been useful in some way. I really wanted to reflect and try to make something meaningful. I don't know, maybe that's what these discussion style podcasts will become. I know these aren't for everyone. I know that maybe you might be disappointed you wanted to hear an interview today, but look, I'm going to mix it up. I think for the most part this podcast will be about having the interviews, but from time to time maybe I'll do these. I mean, like I said, that Twitter poll, okay, only 3 people responded, but 2 out of 3 said they wanted to hear these as well. So, you got your wish, guys. Thanks for answering, by the way. And who knows, maybe I'll get better at these. Maybe these will become more interesting and more useful in their own way. I don't know. I mean, you get better the more and more you try, right? But anyway, as always, thank you guys so much for listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, I think Google Podcasts now, and YouTube, of course, and wherever else you listen to the Christian Reeve podcast. I hope that you're enjoying these. I hope that they're meaning something to you. Please feel free to suggest topics to me that you'd like me to discuss or hear about. And if you're, of course, a potential interviewee, then get in touch with me, And you know what? I'm open to everyone. Any kind of person from any walk of life. If you want to be on the show, come on my show. Let's have a talk. Let's get to know you. Let's showcase you to the world. Let's have a fun conversation. Because I love to talk. I love to get to know people, learn about completely different people from myself. It fascinates me. It's part of the highs of life, for sure. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone listening, and thank you for your support. It means the world to me. And yeah, until next time, I bid you adieu.